Live technology. Check. Technology.
Hey, welcome everyone. We have Tamika, Hilder here once again. Got nice and fresh and brought out the suit for this occasion. And India is tomorrow. So this is a huge day. And we're going to hear all about Tamika's wonderful trip overseas where she was healed and continues to heal. And she took a lot of rejuvenation back to Australia. And we're just going to share that with the United States and Europe and all over the people. All over whoever's attending and listening. So, hey Tamika, how we doing?
Hey, I'm feeling really good. Thanks for having me on again. Good to be back.
Oh, you're like our favorite guest on the show.
Oh, you.
Oh, yeah, you know. Top 10, top 10. So, yeah, you just got back from Bali.
Yes, I did. Yes. Bali was too short. Bali was amazing. Bali was really just God, I had so many realizations. Like I took 2 weeks off to just be with myself, and I went with a really clear intention to to deepen my level of self-acceptance, because I was really noticing that for me to take my business to the next level, I have to step more into my power. And I was feeling like the key to stepping into my power was actually for deeper self-acceptance. So, yeah, so I went to Bali with a super clear intention, and that's what happened. So I was taking some liquid crystals, which are like vibrational energy tools to assist the process. And I was just amazed. Like, I've been so busy for about 8 years just working with the business, helping so many people. And I guess I got caught up in actually being of service to humanity instead of service to myself. So it wasn't until I stopped and was able to see that pattern really clearly that I realized that I had lost my balance. So the amount of energy moving out that I was giving out versus receiving was not balanced. So it was a good chance for me to see that pattern. Yeah, so I don't feel like my energy is fully back yet, but I've seen the pattern, and I've made some huge changes. Like, I don't even turn my phone on until 12 o'clock now. I don't start work until 12.
Whoa.
Yeah, I've started this like Qigong practice, this 90-minute Qigong practice, meditation. I'm doing like mini tramp every day. I'm starting swimming. I've got this whole new lifestyle that I'm starting. And
I
my
love
focus
that, like rejuvenation. Mm-hmm.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
That's where, so you've done a lot of clearing, you did a lot of emotional freedom, and just got back to your zest for life, got back to recharging yourself, taking care of number one, and yeah, you're not drained as much. You're more filled from the heart. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. It's amazing how much in our Western world, you know, I mean, I'm in the industry of wellness and healing, and just by having these super massive goals of just wanting to help so many people, I actually started to lose myself through the process, and just really simple, my own wellness practices got lost in the busyness.
Right in the abyss. That's what happens. We get stolen. Sometimes we give our life to our clients. We forget that we need to be recharged up. I noticed that you did some postings that were based on like a lot of your clearing and meeting of just simple excellent healers. What kind of energy is there? Is it like an ancient healing energy? Is it some sort of or some sort of vibration that's coming out of the Bali Ubud area, because I felt it too when I was motorcycling around that area. The volcanoes, everything's just lush. Like the earth is just like alive and energized and fueled by a lot of soul-driven people. And I feel like there's a simplicity to that area, and it's something we can really learn from. What did you take from like the healing practitioners, like the love that you were given there?
Yes, like I think you're absolutely right. Bali is it's like a paradise. There's so much, the culture really, for most parts, apart from where it's a little bit nice, but they're in tune with nature, and so it's lush, and yeah, it has the most amazing energy. And what I love about Bali is that you see your light and you see your shadow. So everywhere you go in Bali, as you would know, with the statues of their gods that are placed around everywhere in Bali, they're often dressed in this material, which this material has on it these black and white, which is really funny because I'm wearing that color now. It's really funny. Black and white squares, and it represents the positive, the good spirits in Bali, and the bad spirits. So the positive energy and the negative energy. So what I find is when you go to Bali, in particular Ubud, which is like the womb, the hub of this new spiritual energy, is that you go there and you face yourself, you face your light, and you face your dark. And you can't help but face your shadow. And it just brings up your shadow to the surface. So, yeah, most people are going to Ubud and having these super healing, super deeply transformational, heart-opening healings while they're over there. And I find the energy to be really supportive of really deep healing.
Oh, that's fearlessness right there. You got to take it on. Every time you travel, you get some sort of new awakening. Something rises out of you. I know. Looking at volcanoes and expecting a typhoon to come through one night when I was sitting on Gili. You were on Gili too, right?
I did go to Gili T and Gili Meadow. Yeah, did a lot of diving there. Yeah.
So would you recommend people go there for the retreats? Because it's a big thing all over the world. Go to some place in Bali, a place, or would you choose somewhere further out, away from that?
100% Bali. That's why we're going to be running like 3 retreats a year in Bali. So I think I'm so connected to the place. I'm really connected to a couple of Balinese healers, and we have a soul contract. How it feels for me. So yeah. So one of the Balinese grandmasters is actually making me a master in his method when I come back in December for a month. So yeah, so I'm excited, super excited.
Have you seen the YouTube video of the Balinese healer who's using his qigong powers, and he lights up a piece of paper with his hands, and he's healing all sorts of ailments from people, and he's it's a wushu martial arts technique where they hammer nails into boards with just their bare hands?
Really? No, I haven't. I want to see it.
It's absolutely astounding, and
Amazing.
they're not supposed to glow.
Wow. Yeah, look, I'm not surprised. Anything is possible when you master energy.
That's it, yeah. I believe there's got to be something there. I feel that when I go to Hawaii too. I feel like an energy there. I've been to a few places in Brazil. There's a high energy there. So would you recommend this? Who's the type of candidate who'd go to the retreat? What type of individual needs this sort of work, and how would you? Someone's very mainstream. They're not very opened up. They haven't been dreaming well. They haven't been sleeping well. They're very stressed at work. How would you introduce them to getting to a retreat? And not to scare away someone, how would you market it, or how would you?
Oh, I would tell everyone that they have to be very afraid. No, just kidding. There's 3 different types of retreats that we're running. So one of them is a really simple 7-day juice fast cleanse. So fasting, colonics, rest, rejuvenation, meditation. So that's one retreat. The second retreat is more of like a wellness retreat. So whole food and raw food cooking classes. So not just, going to this retreat and having everything done for you, but learning how to maintain these positive habits and then take them home so you can continue. When you get home, heaps of yoga with this particular retreat. I'll be doing some healing around the heart, emotional healing, clearing, releases, that type of thing. And then the big one is actually a self-love and oneness Bali experience, where you get to come to Bali for like 10 days and experience a bunch of different Balinese healers, traditional healers, and then work with Leisha, one of my best friends in the world, who's like an incredible psychic healer. So she's able to tune in to any particular issue and tell you exactly what's happening in your shadow. So whatever beliefs you've got within your subconscious, that, where they've come from, how it got triggered, how it's playing out in your life, and then helping you to clear it. So our theory is that, if you really want to evolve spiritually, you have to delve deeply into your shadow, into your subconscious, because they're the things that are holding you back in life and keeping your consciousness low.
100%.
So when you can come into your shadow and have total self-acceptance of yourself, complete self-love, then that's really the foundation for health, for happiness, and fulfillment. So it's going to be really deep work for 10 days.
Sounds like a soul transcendence right there.
Massively. Beautiful, beautiful words. It's exactly what it is. Yeah.
I was just hanging with Deepak Chopra and Pete Mills beforehand on another podcast, and I'm really inspired. And someone was saying rebellion is a knot in the heart, not of the mind. The key is to make deposits of constant, unconditional love towards yourself and towards others. Just make deposits towards relationships and deposits towards self-mastery, self-growth. And the longer you stagnate and sweep the dirt under the carpet, the more other issues start popping up emotionally, physically, along your range. And that sort of makes me trigger towards the lucid light therapy scenario that I did at one of the wellness festivals in Melbourne, that allowed me to see what blockages I had through my meridians and through my chakras. And that was unparalleled because it mixed Eastern and Western, and it got all the it went scientific, where most people would say, oh, this is woohoo stuff, this is way beyond whatever I ever would imagine doing. I'm very religious. I'm go to church. I'm a Protestant. I'm this and that. But just very closed-minded types of healing. But they actually, in 100%, need that healing.
Wow, that sounds really fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a win-win, in my opinion, to go accept and go get these treatments and go work these things out, and to whatever modality works for you. But I believe that the plant medicines, the retreats, it detaches you from the soil that you're growing from, and it sort of allows you to float and fly off of your issues and detach away from those. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when you get away from your conditioned environment with your programmed habits and the same people, when you get away from that and come into a new environment, it's like you have an opportunity for a fresh start. You have no distractions. You have no family to distract you, and you're in a super supportive environment. So, I feel like a retreat scenario is just a really conducive environment for self-reflection, for rejuvenation, relaxation, for healing, and for growth. Yeah, and what you said before, just about really the crux of health and happiness, in my opinion, is self-love. So when you spend time with yourself, discovering what you need to give to you in order to keep your cup full, you know, that's what it's all about. Because if you're trying to give to other people when your cup is not full, you're gonna end up bitter and resentful and tired and have nothing to give. And the quality of the energy you're giving won't be as rich and nourishing as it could be. So self-love is crucial. I mean, to be honest, I think that's what everybody is searching for. They're searching for themselves. They're searching for the love that they are. People need to come home to themselves, home to their soul, home to who they are, and know who they are, love who they are, and step into their purpose. But that takes time. It takes time to self-inquire through meditation and being quiet and getting away from the busyness. The Western world is not conducive for us to know ourselves. It's really easy to separate ourselves, to get busy, to get distracted, to avoid what we're feeling, what we're thinking, to live in our mind and instead of our heart. So, you know, we have to have these practices. Like when you go to Bali, Balinese people do not need to go on a retreat. They don't even need to go to a healer very often. So they live such a simple life. And because of that simple life, they don't have disease. They're totally happy. And they don't need all the things, all this wellness and well-being industry that has been created in the West, is because the West is so out of touch and out of balance with ourselves. So I've learned a huge lesson, and I'm going to be simplifying my life to a large degree while still keeping the balance of serving humanity and growing the business. So I've got to find my new balance and learn to delegate a lot more.
Yes, that was huge. I heard that today on Tim Ferriss. That was delegation, and that was the number one thing that the most successful entrepreneur that he's ever met said as number one piece of advice he would tell his younger self. And yeah, everything you say is really hitting the truth, and on the shortness and the vastness of life. And there's this arrogance that we have, that we sort of know it all, and that there's nothing that we can do, and we're not really living this life. We're preoccupied with just utter time restrictions, and just distracted by television, distracted by gossip, and distracted by the social media. And I believe we're getting too far into technology. We need to pull back a little bit more, simplify things, just really simplify it, and just enjoy you time and saying no, and the power of no. So have you heard of Seneca?
No, I haven't.
He's around the Roman times, and he's basically like the Bill Murray, or the more like the Oprah, or he basically has just amazing messages, and he wrote his name is Lucius Seneca, and he elaborated on the shortness of life. And I'll just give you some nuggets that he offers, and it transcends time. Like when he's speaking about it, he's talking about the Roman era, and I'll read a couple passages. It's not what we have, a short space of time, but that we waste much of it. Life is long enough, and it has given us sufficient generous measure to allow the accomplishment, the greatest things, the whole that we have invested. Why do we complain of nature? She has already shown herself kindly. But one man who is possessed by greed that is insatiable, another by toilsome devotion to the tasks that are useless. A man is besotted by wine and paralyzed by sloth. One man is exhausted by an ambition that is always hanging upon the decision of others, driven crazy by the greed and trade and distractibility. So the part of life we really live is small. For all the rest of existence is not life, but it's merely time. And this really hits home because I see a lot of people doing this, and they're feeling like there's no escape, there's no escaping from that. So in guarding their fortune, men are often close-fisted, yet when it comes to a matter of wasting time, it is one thing that right to merely show themselves most prodigal, and they reach their farthest limit of their human life, that they limit themselves not to transcend the past. You are pressing hard upon the 100th year, even behind it, and you have you're hanging with the money lender, how much you hang out with the mistress, how much you hang out with the patrons, how much with clients, how much with wrangling with your wife, how much with punishing your slaves, how much with rushing about the city on social duties. Add the diseases which have caused by your own acts. Add to the time that has lain idle and unused. You will see that you have fewer years to your credit than you can count. Wise man, huh?
Yeah, really profound. Yeah. And I love what he says about nature, because I feel like nature is balanced, nature is sustainable, and we're living a life that is not sustainable. You know, wellness should be our birthright. Like, it should be normal. Wellness should be our basic birthright, and we shouldn't need to have all these wellness practices to get people back to health and happiness. Like, that should be our foundation, like it is with the Balinese people. So, you know, we've built a society that is so not sustainable, and it's just not healthy. It's just not healthy at all.
What's your society, Tamika?
What's my what?
What's your perfect utopia?
Well, my perfect utopia would be really, you know, when I think about it, I actually think about sustainable communities. You know, sustainable communities where we're living off the grid, and yeah, people are doing in the community what they're naturally gifted at, and we go back to a trading of services. So money is not necessary. Much more simple life. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I'm sure we can bring technology into it somehow, but I feel like we have to simplify. I think we have to simplify. Yeah. And I'm the furthest from being a hippie, but I really can't see, or even if you have your own house and land, but you have your own food, you know, your house is off the grid, and we're living in more sustainable ways. But in terms of people are trained, or they're taught the basics from the time they're born, how to manage their mind, how to recognize their feelings, how to clear whatever feelings come up, how to talk about their feelings, so emotional intelligence, how to look after their bodies, how to cleanse their bodies, how to eat proper food that doesn't clog up the body. Just basic things, techniques to raise their consciousness, to tap into their intuition, to keep growing and to keep expanding. Stuff that helps us to grow. Our society suppresses us.
Yeah, I think this is one of the biggest times of all human eras that we were just figuring out that we have been lied to. We've been discovering the truth. We're discovering that there's answers out there. There's communities out there. We're discovering that we love being together again. Even though technology is separating us, we're even closer, and we're in a big community, and we're also learning new modalities of the ancients, and having the ability to travel and having the ability to contact people all over the world that we've met during these travel trips, and being in contact and being able to take a cheap flight over to see these people again, and then to instill the energy they brought into our lives and to instill it back in our communities, and sort of, you know, getting out of that monetary system. And we don't need a lot of money. We just need shelter, we need food, and we need water. At the end of the day, we think we need so much more stuff, but the ultimate Zen approach is to subtract. It's not what you add, it's what you take away and throw out, and just just that's a huge spiritual practice in my life, is just to throw away a few things. Quit being a hoarder of just mindless possessions. So I
Yeah,
think
it's
we're
all
in a very important time.
yeah. Simplification is the key. People have been brainwashed into being consumers and believing that the more stuff they have, the happier they'll be. But it's just not the truth. Happiness comes when you come home to who you are and you accept yourself, you love yourself, and you understand your purpose in the bigger scheme of this incredibly intelligent universe.
Tamika, for the beginner, how would you break that down? How do you know? How do you clarify? Okay, you've seen the movies, the tabloids, that everywhere you look, you see the billboards on the bus. You think you're supposed to be married at this certain age. You think you're supposed to follow this demigod, or you're supposed to be Buddhist. You're supposed to be Muslim. You're supposed to be Christian. You're supposed to separate from whoever's not the skin color of your parents' favoritisms, or however society shows you, and you're supposed to do whatever that your teacher tells you. How do you break that spell in someone who doesn't have the free will to think? I find this time and time again, and it's an opposition I go up against still to this day.
Well, I believe when people have enough suffering in their life, they start to look for alternative answers, and the teacher appears when the student is ready to learn. And the first thing to do is to realize that we're a spiritual being having a human experience. So the spiritual part of us, our soul, comes straight from God. And what is God? Light, love. That's it. So
I am.
I am. So if that's who we are, then there's actually no one better qualified to guide our life other than ourselves. But to get to the place where you can actually listen and heed the soul's wisdom requires a lot of reconnecting to yourself, because we live in the mind. So when we live in the mind, we are confused, we lack clarity, direction, we take on other people's opinions and beliefs about what we should do, and so we stop listening to us. The true self, the soul, the soul's communication is through feelings in the body and particularly in the heart. So if you can learn to feel not your emotions, not your emotional reactions, but a feeling, if you're faced with a choice, two pathways, and you're confused, the way to listen to your soul wants is to go, okay, if I take this pathway, how does that make my body feel? Do I feel a sense of expansion? Do I feel a sense of excitement? Do I feel a sense of inspiration? Do I feel my heart lift a little bit? Is there a yes? Is there an inner yes? Or is there a contraction, a feeling of heaviness, a feeling of hesitation or doubt? Because that's the soul saying no. So your soul, to the soul, time does not exist. The past, the present, and the future, and even quantum physics can verify this. The past, the present, the future are all happening now. So the soul knows the future outcome of all possibilities. So if you have a decision to make, tune into what your soul wants you to do, because your soul only wants your happiness. So when you learn to listen to your authentic self, your truth, happiness, fulfillment, and eventually health from following that pathway results. So, but it takes practice to, it's a different mode of communication, because we're so used to the mind, and we're so used to maybe even just pleasing people, doing what should be expected of us by society, our family, our friends, whoever, instead of really staying true to ourselves. But with that, like, you can't have that unless you have self-love, self-acceptance. They go hand in hand.
Mm.
So it's a real journey, like to come back to our authentic self is a real journey. This is why I do the work I do, because we've all been so separated and it takes time. And in the beginning, someone to guide you back home. And then when you're there, you're there. You don't need a guru, you don't need a doctor, you just need to listen to yourself, and it's quite simple.
Tamika, that's so beautifully said. A lot of people would hear this and they'd go, wow, easy for you to say, but they also would say, wow, it's a process. I feel like you can get certain books and certain guides and certain people in your life, and at first your friends will make fun of you, but you'll start reading and you'll start learning how to use your mind, start how to back off of whatever society has lied to you about, because there's a lot of lies. If you look around, there's lies everywhere about society. But what the truth is usually is in some sort of spiritual practice, just look at the happy people and ask them how they got happy, and look at the people who are truly happy, not putting on a fake front, because that happens a lot too. Look at the real people, the people that don't care about what other people think, and then the ones who've amassed a fortune in abundance and abundance mentality, and they live a win-win life, and they have high conscious decisions, and they also have a lot of friends surrounding them. Ask them, ask for advice, gain a mentor, and just listen to successful, positive, motivational, just thriving for the sky, travelers, adventurers, pro athletes, pro speakers, whoever you can come in contact, and you can get a lot of these nuggets from these individuals fairly easy if you just show that you have an open heart, open mind. I think having the open mind is probably genetically, or somehow you may be spiritually inclined. If you dream really vastly, you may have an opening there, but you have to learn how to break open this pineal gland area, and it starts with nutrition, it starts with health, it starts with detoxing a lot of the chemicals, put down the cigarettes, put down all the drugs. I mean, some of them can be beneficial if they're natural from the earth, but literally get out of the paradigm of the blockages and the barriers, and there's no boundaries. We are literally quantum atom photons. This whole universe is a photon. We have no barriers, but it's cool that we can just design our life, and we can design our life, which is exciting and which is monumental, that we have the ability to literally take a paintbrush and paint out a beautiful life and transcend whatever we want and whatever your soul desires, and your soul will teach you and tell you when you learn to shut your mind up and learn how to just focus and breathe and focus and calm down and just learn how to just listen and sit in stillness with nature and next to a waterfall. So this may sound foreign at first, but when you try it, you have to do. You have to. I actually just drew this picture, and it was from a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And there's a lot of nuggets there. It's do, commit, and learn. And it's just a spiral. Do, commit, and learn. And how many of us, Tamika, who have gone on a diet or on an exercise plan, spend 1 month on that plan? They do, they don't commit, and they don't learn. They just do the beginning phases. So
you know why though? And I was just literally thinking about this as you were talking. The reason people sabotage their intentions is because they don't love themselves enough.
Or they don't know how to love themselves, or their subconscious is sending messages of, oh, you're never going to be good enough, you're not good looking enough, you're never going to be the popular kid, you're never going to be making the $1 million, you're never going to have the home you want, never going to have the Ferrari, you're never going to go on the cruise vacations. But
yeah, I think for 99.9% of people, their core belief is I'm not good enough. And so their self-worth is quite low, and this is why they don't then act with self-love, because they don't actually love themselves. That's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's most often from childhood, from our parents not receiving the love that they needed and unconsciously passing on those patterns. So it's no one's fault, but that's what's happening.
Beautiful. Tamika, I want to ask you some awesome questions. What do you think about when you're alone in your car driving? I'm interested. A few rapid fire questions.
I'm actually, at the moment, I'm doing my absolute best to stay present. So being in my mind was what was burning my body out. So when I'm in my car, I'm either listening to music or practicing on being present and not thinking, but just complete awareness, just being.
That's awesome. Power of now. What do
Yes.
you, what are your top two dreams that you have had happen since childhood?
That I've achieved and created in my life.
But like as in like physical when you go to sleep dreams.
Oh, okay.
Are you a lucid dreamer or do you have recurring dreams or
So one of them, probably one comes to mind. I used to have this dream of flying above the water, and the water is our emotions. So when I was younger, I was too afraid to delve into my emotions. And then as I started to do this work, my dreams would take me into the water where there were sharks. So the sharks represented my fears. And then recently, I had a dream where I went into the water, right into the ocean, then all the water disappeared because I've done so much emotional healing. And all the sharks were massive, but there was no water. So they were just lying on the sand, unable to eat me. So I felt completely safe. So yeah, so over the years, I've gone from going too afraid to delve into my emotions, the sharks in the water, I don't want to get hurt, to delving into my emotional body, my feelings, and working through all the layers of the onion so that those sharks, my fears, have no power over me.
beautiful? We love those dreams. They keep on coming up, don't they? They're such a fun time.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I can only say that my dreams get a little bit naughty some nights, and I try to write them down. Sometimes they get a fantastic flying feelings, and I'm feeling my neurons working. I'm feeling all my. I feel like I have control of it to a point, and I wake
Yeah.
up and I don't know if it's a dream or not. And lately, I'm listening to comics and amazing people who tell me that they learn how to astral project, and they say you got to be careful with that one because sometimes it happens automatically when you get that skill. Um, yeah, and I think dreams can teach us a lot, but we have no idea what their capabilities or where we're at when we are dreaming or what it is or
Yeah. I
how much
think
to
if
learn.
you, I think if you're interested in the whole dream, the astral dreaming, I think that yeah, I know my brother-in-law. He feels like his dreams of late are more real than reality, and he's being
Yeah,
taught all of these different things in his dreams. So his spiritual growth is coming mainly from his dreams at the moment. Hmm.
yeah, but that
There is
DMT starts slipping out, doesn't it, when you wake up?
say that again.
The DMT starts slipping away when you wake up and you forget sort of the whole adventure and you're like, wait, what happened again? You're like, oh, was this real life or it's
Oh no,
interesting.
he can remember them, but it just feels more real. So yeah, there's a lot of teaching happening. You know, I'm not sure by who, but in his dreams. Whereas for me, my dreams are more about subconscious processing and giving me messages in my dreams.
Yeah, I feel like I hang out with a lot of friends that I currently am working on things with, or if there's an issue with my family or my mother and we're not getting along at the moment, maybe I'm saying something in a dream. And
Yeah.
someone had said that during his dream, this famous comic named Sinbad, and he's one of my heroes, and he basically says that he's done astral projecting. I go, whoa, how did this guy learn how to do all this stuff? It turns out a lot of the successful people get into spiritual stuff, and they get into like super power states, and he actually he was across the world, and he actually went to his parents' house in this astral dream, and he was like, oh, I see the newspaper guy dropping the papers off. I see the UPS post office guy dropping off the box. And he called his parents later on. He's like, and they're like, hey, he's like, well, what did you get in that box? And the father, he's a pastor, and he goes, son, we need to talk. What kind of stuff are you doing here? And there's some special powers in there. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, I'm gonna read some books on it.
As superhuman, we definitely have those potential for sure. Just so untapped.
I've been told I had superpowers before. At least I pretend to think I do.
Yeah, me too.
I jumped out of a tree one time, and I thought I could fly, and I busted my leg, and my father said, son, if you think you can fly, start at the lowest branch first. Oh, man. Just wrong.
That's my dad.
Tamika, what song represents your life right now? Do you have like a song that represents your life and your work ethic right now?
I never know the names of songs. This is a really bad question for me. Really,
Yeah.
there's a song. There's an album I bought in Bali by this woman Lisa, someone from the yoga barn, and it's this really peaceful, slow soundtrack, and it's really spiritual. It's really like angelic. So I played that a million times in Bali. I'd be in the bath or doing like energy work or meditation, and she would be on in the background. So for me at the moment, her whole album of just 4 beautiful, amazing, like angelic songs reminds me of just what I'm going through at the moment, which is like, it feels like this really deep healing, deep awakening to the next level phase for me.
Yeah, it seems like you're breaking through to the next level, huh?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
I love it. We got to have a party when you do. What's the best party or a future party that you want to create that just was monumental, that was like just the biggest memorable experience that ever happened, like just a day that was just a huge party? Do you have any moments like that recently?
You know what? I'm so not into parties, so I'm really like probably not a good question to ask me, to be honest.
But maybe your party could be a different definition of a party, not necessarily the Animal House or.
Yeah, well, okay, so at my last retreat, we had like 39 people present, and I took them through this meditation, this process, and there was so much energy in the room, and everybody's hearts were totally opened, and the love was almost tangible and palpable in the air, and people were like just releasing emotion and crying, and some just healing, and some because they had never felt so much love. And I was directing the whole process. And, you know, as I've come into my heart, it's like I've been given the ability to have more power with my work, with what I do. And that moment for me just was mind-blowing. It was just so humbling, amazing.
I love that. I love that. I see a little halo over your head. It's so funny. There's like a light that just shines right over. It's hilarious. I felt when you were saying that, I could feel it. I felt that a couple times, and one time at your seminar as well. But that is a powerful feeling. You just feel like you need to hug everyone, and a lot of festivals get that too. I mean, that's why I love festivals, because it's just like it's almost like traveling to another destination, another planet.
Yeah.
And you're like, I like this planet better than my regular planet that I'm living, and I want to stay in this planet, and I never found a way to stay there yet, but I feel like I should because I thrive in those conditions, and I'm like, whoa. Segue to that, how do you define yourself, the drunk self, the party self, the horny self, the workout buff, the chef in you, the chef self, the angry self. Which self are you? That's Do you know that to answer this
Yeah,
question?
like for me, I'm all of them. Like I'm completely human. So, I'm not a nun, and I'm human. So I have all the same desires as everybody else. So yeah, if God, like my original bachelor at uni was actually music theatre. So performing was what I did for 3 years. And if I was to go out clubbing, which is not my scene anymore, but if I
Yeah,
was, I would.
yes, it is.
No, well, not really, to be honest. But I would find a
No, I mean,
podium
like, still,
and
like,
get a
party.
and I'd be dancing, thinking that the whole audience were like, like my audience. So I'm totally human, right? Totally human. Like to have fun. Love to let my hair down, dance, whatever, sing. I'm terrible in the kitchen. My housemate cooks everything for me. Thank God. So,
Oh, that's how I'm a chef, like a Zen chef. It's my meditation. But I totally
yeah,
feel you. Like, we think that we're not supposed to have fun. Like, it's not godly. It's not the right thing to do to have a hedonistic life sometimes. But that is the exact opposite of what all the spiritual practices are actually teaching, and all the people who are actually having a good time in life. They're having a fun existence. They're not taking life so seriously. They're doing things they do love, and they recognize those things, and they try to do it more often. And they're selfish about it because they're like, wait, I know what I love. I know what makes me happy. I know it, and sometimes they go back to revert to their old ways of making them happy. Like you said, your dancing was like a showcase, and I'm a performer. I love to be on stage, so I said I'm going to get into stand-up comedy. So I have at least 4 minutes to do a set on designated days, and I knew it was going to be a challenge. But I love it when people laugh and you're killing, and the audience is cracking up and chuckling, and you planned out your bits. I mean, it's one of these new things. I can tell it's going to be a long journey till I get really good, but it's something. It's getting you stage time. It's getting you in the right place. And I'm telling you, when you're up there and you're doing well, it's like things come out of nowhere. You just start saying amazing things. You start feeling like you're floating. It's this feeling I can't describe. It's like someone is assisting you, helping you out.
that's how I feel when I'm speaking on stage. And what most people don't realize is that everything, doesn't matter how physical it could be, your phone or your desk, or everything is spiritual. Like you said before, it's just atoms vibrating at a particular frequency. So everything physical is actually spiritual. So we're only here to have fun. We're totally here to follow our bliss, to enjoy life, and to have fun. So whatever brings you the most amount of joy, go out and do. And that will put you onto your soul's pathway, believe it or not. If you follow what makes you happy, then you'll be on the right pathway.
They say that bliss is the way to do that, but it's fearlessness towards the bliss, and I think you have to go trudge through the mud before you get to it. But I'm still finding out, and that's our purpose, to find it out, and it's an exciting journey. Because
Exactly. Bring it on.
I quit as many times as I can until I can't quit something, and I love it, and I'll stick with that era. But
yeah. If you've got the passion for something, then that's your soul saying keep going. But if you lose the passion, then you've learned what you've needed to learn, and then it's time to move on. But you're right about saying a lot of people have blocks, inner blocks, that need to be cleared in order for them to actually be in touch with what their passion is and to have that fearlessness.
or take on the next level so that you're challenged, and then you get that inner rush, that inner guidance, that next level optimization that gets you to the next level, and then you go, wait, now I hit the bar, and now I got to take it to the next level, and that challenges and keeps it fun again, because when we have to know when to challenge ourselves again, because otherwise we just move on to the next thing, and we get distracted, and there's more hobbies, and we don't have to stick to one thing. We could love 9 things, and we're getting to be more dynamic like godlike human beings where we can do more than one thing, and we're getting more nutrition, and we're getting more technology that's been an education that's allowing us to do technology-based things, artistic-based things, business-type endeavors, poetic endeavors, and we can fly. Eventually, we can fly cars, and we can fly them now, and
Yeah.
we can do meditations, which is a whole different of reality and whatnot. So I think you just keep on adding new things to your life to expand. But my point was just that we need to take the challenge, and until we find what we really love doing, continue to take the challenge and up the bar.
Well, even when you think of a butterfly, when it's coming out of the cocoon, it has to put in quite a lot of effort with its wings to, free itself from that cocoon, to pump the blood into its wings to fly. So, every next level for us is a little bit uncomfortable and requires a little more energy than normal when we're just cruising along. Then we have to rise above. So, but that's the fulfillment of the soul. The soul's here to expand, to grow, like the rest of nature, like the rest of the universe. And it does require fearlessness, because that initial stage of moving beyond your comfort zone for most people brings up fear or anxiety. And so it feels a little bit uncomfortable. But if you just have trust in yourself and trust in the universe, that the universe is supporting you, what you want is exactly on the other side of that fear.
Yeah, you just made India come up because
Ooh, India.
I'm heading to a whole different planet on this planet, and one of the resurging economies and ancient modalities of religion, spiritual stuff, one of the oldest cultures in this world. Maybe even the connection to Australia that once was, because of the Aboriginals were said to be Indian. So I might even see some remnants and artifacts that I may come in contact with spiritual energies that I have no clue yet exist. And I'm taking on a fearless journey. Everyone looks at me like I'm crazy. They go, India? Why would you ever want to do India, man? That stuff is. You need to go to Thailand. You need to go to Europe. You need to do this and that. Someone's calling me to India, so I'm taking on the fearless track, and hey, the butterflies are there, but that's good. things will be fine.
I'm sure it'll be a life-changing trip.
Well, Tamika, that's funny you say that, because normally people don't care what I do. They're like, hey, whatever, this guy does this, does that. I had like 9 text messages, like right before this podcast. They were saying, oh, good luck, you're the right person for this journey, you'll come back a different person. I had a guy that would at work who is very tough, and he's a tradie type of guy, and he's like, hey man, good luck on your travels, and he gives me a hug, and I could tell it was tough for him to give me a hug, and I was like, oh man. I like people who are wish luck. They're like, come back and teach us and show us what you learn. And I'm going to be going to Ayurvedic. I'm doing a lot of Ayurvedic stuff.
Perfect.
And training on the Ayurvedic herbs, and learning about the fabrics that the clothes actually are made out of, with 66 dyes of Ayurvedic fabrics and ancient modalities of teas and ailments and foods and spices. I'm going to learn about all these different spices that can speed up metabolisms and different, because Indian people are very good at mathematics. I want to learn how they've learned the arithmetic and the mathematical equations of the universe and to the world, and learn what the spices and the foods and the herbs and different ways of life, how this becomes prominent in that society. So there's so much to learn. Yoga and martial arts. The beginning of martial arts was in India, and
wow.
Tracing
There's a lot of truth and wisdom in Ayurvedic, isn't there?
Oh, too much. I don't know nothing right now. All I know is I've been drinking Goda Kula this whole podcast, and and it does something to the nerves, and it helps the mind think clarity, and yeah, it's a detox. It's good. But Tamika, we have lots to share with people. That's for sure.
I know, the learning never stops.
Will people listen? That's the key. And don't waste our energy on those who are just not ready to listen, and they'll come to us when they're ready. And
We attract the right people who are ready to hear us, so you don't have to worry about the rest.
just set up the platform, right? Just do,
Exactly.
commit, learn.
Yes, exactly.
What is your center right now? How do you what is your center focus? Is it family, money, work, or all the three, and just a balance?
As myself, actually, my big center focus is totally myself and my wellness, getting my body back to well-being again.
What do you think about this statement? Every child is an artist, and adults are merely just house cats.
Well, I think it's true. Kids between the age of 0 to 2, their brain waves are in delta, so they're just receiving information into their subconscious. And then from 2 till 6, their brain waves are in theta. That's why they play games and they play a lot of, they use their imagination. Hey, let's play doctors and nurses, or teacher and student, or let's play this, or let's have a cup of tea. And, you know, they use their imagination, and because their brain is in theta, so it's they're totally just using their creativity, you know. So they're little artists. They're like walking art, really. They're like a walking piece of art constantly. So whereas adults, we lose that creativity, which is the right side of the brain, and we come into the left side most of the time for most people, which is the logical part of the brain, and we disconnect from creativity and intuition. We become a little boring.
That's oh man, that's my biggest fear. I've never I have gone into stages of trying to be an adult, and it just didn't work out for me too well. I had a massive anxiety, and I was thinking about going in the FBI, CIA, military, and luckily I got out of it and wasn't permitted. But you know, I tell friends every day, you know, just do what your heart wants, and that's basically you can get out of the societal trap, the rat race, whatever you call it, and learn how to minimalize. You can survive that way.
Yeah. Somehow I can't imagine you becoming really left brain logical. I don't think you need to worry about that.
I mean, I have it, but it's I got the philosophical brain. I got a long lineage of artists in the family, and I honestly think I'm a caveman in a lot of ways too. I'm very primal, so I think I got the mixed bag. Then you just kind of jumble it together and say, what skills can I use in this? What you got a big toolbox. Just got a bigger toolbox than some people, and you just have to learn how to use these tools and to and learn how to use your operating system and advance your operating system, because we are and be able to get yourself at a flow state more often. That's been my challenge, is just get back to the flow state, get back to an air, and it's becoming harder to get to flow states because of all the traffic and the planes flying and the electrical signals and the phone being always at your face, and you're always checking messages, you're always doing things. So when I'm traveling, I get to flow states way more, and I just shut down the phone and technology, and it's so much. I feel like a hunter. I feel like my indigenous ancestors. So I think, yeah, just get back to nature and get back to your meditation practice, and try to encourage that every day, and work out, because how big is working out? Like
Crucial.
aren't we different people? Like there's a stigma, like, oh, you work out, you're one of those people who work out. Everyone needs a workout. There's no bottom line. there's no.
Everybody needs to move their body every day, doing something that they enjoy.
That's it. Finding something you enjoy.
Yeah.
A few more questions. I know we both got big things to do. I'm heading off to a flight. You're gonna head off to Dreamland, but I definitely want to hear like basically I want to discuss death and life in general. But what would you do if you knew you had 48 hours to live? What would you do, Tamika?
Interesting question. I would call on my friends and family and tell them I love them. And I would actually probably write a piece of information. I would write something to leave the world with as much wisdom as I could possibly share from what I have learned so far in my life, so that I left a legacy. That's if I knew I had 48 hours. Yeah.
That's it. Get in touch with the simplicity of it all. Get in touch with the family.
Yeah. Like what has my life taught me? What have I learned, and what can I pass on? I believe we're all here to be of service in some way, just by sharing our gifts. Yeah. So we're here to pass on, what we know.
And you would basically encourage friends and family that, hey, this isn't my last stop. I'm going to be moving on to a different portal.
So in relation to death, to answer your question before, I don't believe in death. So yes, our physical body dies, but the soul is eternal. It's just light. So the soul cannot die. So the way I look at death is that it's like we've graduated from year 12. It's an exciting time, and it's a super, super exciting time for the soul and for our soul family who are waiting for us. So, yeah, we always leave a portion of our soul at home in spirit dimension. So even all our loved ones, we still connect with them, even if they're here in a body. So yeah, it's a super exciting time for the soul. It's just a very sad time for the human.
For everyone else.
Because of the grief, and we miss them. But the more you meditate and the more you connect, the more you're actually connected to people who have passed over. Just by closing your eyes and talking to them in your mind. So sure, they're not here physically, but yeah, that's the way I view death.
Tamika, that's beautiful. That's like a flower blossoming. I have discussed this with some people, and I know you're a spiritual gangster by the way you replied to that, because usually I get one word question and then I get an anxiety attack, and then I I go, hey, whoa, it's not that serious, relax. But Dennis Leary, one of the American psychologists and one of the innovators in the Freudian psychology in the 1920s to 1970s, I'd like to say. He was a big LSD advocate, and he actually did experiments all over the world, and he did a lot of the researching, and he actually started and even encouraged anti-war propaganda throughout the Vietnam era and everything. He was vital, and the government did not want him around speaking because he had everyone saying, just drop out, and he had people saying, I forgot the saying. I feel like a loser. It was such a huge saying. I could look it up, but basically,
okay. Well,
at the end of his life, he actually had a video camera, and this is before the internet was even popular. And so he had a video camera of his last 4 or 5 hours, and it was just this full-on party. And this was like all his best friends and musicians came over, and everyone. He hung out with the Beatles, the Hendrix. He hung out with all the greats, and he was very influential, and he brought a lot of people transcendent. So he's kind of reminding of someone like yourself who's doing retreats. He had a home that he had people go to, and so everyone kind of paid their respects at his place and came by and and this is when video conferencing was at its early genesis, and he was just sitting back, and I think he took some strips of LSD, and he he's like, I'm seeing where I need to go, and he's giving all this preemptive wisdom of what's happening, and he actually devoted a website on his last journey. He's like, this is like he designed it, and you click on it. There's a documentary about it, Timothy Leary, and basically it was just so cool because he was just like, I'm accepting of it, and it just showed him like go out, and everyone was happy. They're like, oh man, he really had a great life. He lived it to the fullest, and wherever he's at now, he's definitely rewarded for his journey. And it made me feel like after that and a few other experiences, I was just like, I used to fear it. I was like, oh my God, I got to be safe. I can't do this. I can't do that, at certain stages. But man, you're gonna go when you gotta go, and that's the only like full-on guarantee we have. And anyway, we're gonna end on that note. But I got I had to
I need to say something really important before you finish. And the soul chooses when it goes. So even if you're in a car accident, some people could be in the same car
or the shark attack.
Yeah, or whatever. But whatever the situation is. But if the soul's meant to go, then it'll create that death situation. So, but if the soul's not meant to go and the soul has not finished everything that it wants to do here, you'll live. But I also want to say that if anyone's thinking about committing suicide, then you have to come back and do it all over again. So it actually prolongs you getting the lesson. So it's really not a good idea. And the soul is so sad if you do that and choose that. So it's really not for anybody's highest good. And having this gift of life on earth is actually a really massive gift. That's why the present's called the present, because it's a gift. So life itself is really precious. And there's a lot of souls who want to incarnate onto this planet. So it's not an easy planet to incarnate onto. So if you're here, then you're here for a really specific reason, and you can handle everything that your life is throwing your way. So it is a gift though, and we're definitely meant to be here in joy. We're not meant to be suffering. But yes, suffering creates healing and joy, but joy is the key. Doing what we love and taking care of ourselves so that we feel good first and foremost, and healthy and happy and energized, and then can go on to do our purpose and do what we love. So I just wanted to finish with that.
Beautiful. Every day is a new day. We die every night, and we wake up reborn.
Nice way to look at it.
We get to have experiences like this. We get to travel around the world. We get to laugh.
In Bali.
You get to go back. You're just planning an awesome life, and I'm excited for all the future endeavors. I'd love to have you on again, and we just keeping it rolling and encouraging others to do greatness and to be fearless and to live your passion. And I know this is longly due as a goal of mine, and to be doing it now, it's like, wow, is this really happening? And it is, because you made it happen. Doing it is half the battle, and just being in a free love state, as I can leave that on a great message to the audience, is be in a free love state. Don't think it's stupid to love people. Don't think it's unmanly to have feminine characteristics. Don't think you're not cool if you're not bullying someone or making fun of someone. Don't think that you need to be like following all the guys pounding beers on every Friday night when you can be at a retreat hanging with Tamika, Hilder, and someone that's going to empower you, someone that's going to give you some love and give you some suggestions and give you some mentally encouraging thoughts that's going to mentor you to the next level so that you will be happy, so you meet the loved ones that of your life. So you meet the true friends that are not going to backstab you, and you can, at the end of your day, you're going to have, and at the end of your life, you're going to have less regrets, and you're going to think about it on your deathbed, and your grandchildren are going to come up, and you're going to just be loved by all the people that you've helped in your life. So you have a justful purpose, and you've done it. So at the end of the day, you got to be fearless in this life, and you got to show love and be as encouraging and living the way you want to live. Don't worry about your boss making you stay after hours. Don't worry about some stupid job or some stupid situation that you're not supposed to be in. Just follow your heart.
Out of all the masters I've ever met, the one thing I have learned is that what we're here learning is love. That's the key message. But you have to give it to yourself first. And then how you treat yourself is how you treat others. But love is the key, for sure. Beautifully said.
Love. Gotta get that free love.
Free love.
Oh, that feels so good. Tamika, wow, jeez. I'm going to tuck you in here. I'm going to say goodbye to the audience. Please tune in to the next show. We got a lot of exciting people coming on. We got Bjorn Anderson. We got Charles Clay coming on straight out of San Diego. We got a lot of great guests coming up. And I'm trying to do a podcast out of India. So if you guys are you guys are ready for that one, it's going down too. So I'm going to pick a location, and hopefully people will tune in. And we're going to drop some more nuggets and knowledge and love and humor. I'm going to do a few comedy specials as well. So anyways, love you guys.
Love you too. Lots of love.
Oh, yeah. Keep on doing what you're doing. See you soon.
See
Ciao,
ya.
ciao.
Bye. Bye.